Since you're sitting here, let's talk about our relationship. We're not making this about me. This is you, your interview.
Yeah.
But let's talk to people and tell people how we met.
Okay.
How we came in each other's spheres.
Spheres?
Yeah.
Oh.
You tell the story.
I'm just impressed that you said spheres. Spheres?
No, spheres.
Spheres.
No, not spheres.
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 Yeah.
We met through Sinbad.
The comedian.
Yes, and he made the introduction. He said that you would love Michelle Visage. And he said the same thing to you about me.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when people say that we're very, I know somebody who's very similar to you, my first reaction is to not like them.
Correct.
Because I find myself annoying. So
I do too.
Yeah. You find me annoying
Yeah.
or yourself?
I mean you, obviously.
No, you don't.
I love you.
I know. And you have a similar, like anytime somebody has said to you, like, oh, you should meet this person, they're very similar, like you would love each other, you have thought that, right? Like
Automatically, it's like, no.
Right, I like people who are nice.
Right. That's alluding that we're not nice, yes. So Sinbad is how we met. I did a morning radio show with him.
Yes.
He said to you, you got to meet this girl. He said to me, you are the same person.
Yep.
And we automatically were like, no.
Right.
And then we met.
Loved.
And we fell in love.
Love.
So much so that we exchanged 2 ways.
That's right.
Like
and there
this.
were 2 ways, yes.
Yep. And
we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
Because I love you.
And I love you too.
And you're a good friend and you're a good person.
Thank you.
And you stood by me in some really hard times.
Yeah.
And you still do.
Yes. We should get into those hard times. And of course, what you're talking about is the Church of Scientology. But I want to talk about when I met you, you were in the Church of Scientology. And I remember one of the first things I said to you, because, being a radio person and reporting on Scientologists over the years, there's a few high-profile ones. We know that Tom Cruise's, and at the time Jenna Elfman was on a big show, and Kirstie Alley was relevant, and people like that.
Right.
And so I asked you about it, and your response was, well, if I was Catholic, I'd tell you to go to a mass and check it out. So you said to me, you should go to the church and check it out.
Which is the line. I mean, that's the line that we're taught to say, which is what you see celebrities doing now, right, on social media and in giving interviews. They're saying, well, I wouldn't go to, the internet to find out about, I would find out for myself. I'd read a book. So it was the line that we're taught to say.
To reel people in.
To reel people in. But again, it wasn't, I wasn't doing it to hurt you. I really believed that I had the answers to life.
Yeah, and you also didn't push it.
Right.
Because when I had gone the first time, I was a little freaked out about what happened, when they put me on the auditing cans and all that stuff. I didn't know what it was, and it was interesting to me because I am a seeker.
Right.
But I also didn't get it and it costs money.
A lot of money.
It costs, those little baby courses that they suck you in on for $70
exactly.
are nothing.
Well, that's the point of it. I keep telling people, like, it's a business. Understand that it's a business. It's not like any other religion, so stop saying that. It's not like any other religion.
No.
This is a business that has a preset price list.
Yes.
And so, the things that they claim they offer for free are just things to kind of, reel you in to say that they have Sunday services. They don't. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in any spiritual, anything. There's no deity. There's L. Ron Hubbard. But they're anti-God. They're anti these things. But that's what they told the IRS to gain tax-exempt status, that they only believe in Scientology. That's what they had to say to get tax-exempt status, right? Because you do have to believe in one thing.
Right.
Okay? But what they tell the public is you can be a Catholic Scientologist, a Christian Scientologist. Well, you can't. That's not true. That's just... The one time they told the truth was to the IRS about you only believe in Scientology, giving up any other faith that you came in with. But you don't find that out until later, right? When you're in hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Easily.
No, easy.
It's more like millions, especially.
Well, people can Google the price list. I'm kind of tired of trying to convince people, right? Like all this information is there. You could just Google Scientology price list and you'll see it.
I learned pretty quickly after, I think I did 4 or 5 courses, that it wasn't for me specifically, and this is my experience, not yours, so I'm not speaking for you. I was doing a course and I read something that put homosexual people on the same level in society as pedophiles and murderers.
Correct.
And that's called the tone scale. And again, this is my experience.
It's my experience too.
And I closed the book.
I know.
And I walked out and I called you and I called your mother and I said, I'm done. I can't do this because this is against my morality. Right. And I know you didn't believe that. You never did.
Right.
But at the same time, I knew that you were, I always knew you were a real friend and one of my very best friends. When I said to you, I'm not going to do this anymore because it's against my moral compass. And you're like, all right.
Right.
You loved me no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, a real Scientologist couldn't do that.
Correct. Correct. And in a way, I guess I was always somewhat out by doing things like that, allowing my friends to have their own beliefs, which was, I would have to lie about, you or another friend or even my sister Nicole, who, never took to it. They're not they're not antagonistic, they're just, they have their own thing, their own religion, no, they never say anything bad about it, and that's what I was doing. Didn't have, at the time, obviously, didn't feel that I had the strength to leave, because, my whole family was in it. And so leaving means leaving all of your family behind if they choose not to go with you, which is often the case.
Well, let's talk about that. So when I know you, and I know that you were at a very high-profile wedding, and you asked a question about a high-ranking, the highest...
The leader's wife,
yeah,
Shelley
the leader's-
Miscavige.
Right, and it was at Tom Cruise's wedding.
Correct.
And that really started the beginning of the end for you, correct?
Yes, because first I was seeing behind the curtain, right? I was seeing the top echelon of Scientology, the executive strata there, doing things that we're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to make up for. The higher, I just could, it was like, what's happening and where's Shelley? And the response to that question was insane. But it did take 6 years for me to actually leave after that point.
Why?
But it was, again, if you're not ready to leave your whole family and everybody and anything, all that you've learned, all that you've been indoctrinated into believing as a child, it's not easy to leave a group that you've been raised with.
Seeing your family now that has chosen to leave with you.
Yes, very lucky.
Is beautiful, and they're reborn, and seeing their faces. And I know how tough it was, especially on your mother and her husband, and it was...
Well, they lost all their friends.
Everybody.
Remember, they lost their whole community.
So did you. You have a few left.
But I was lucky enough to have people like you in my life. I held on to the few friends that I had that weren't in Scientology. But, not everybody was lucky. My mother didn't really have
Totally.
anybody
Outside of the church.
Exactly. And it's like, even, yesterday, she's like, I keep dreaming about my friends, in Scientology. And, I oftentimes go online to play, Scrabble with them or whatever. And she's like, they're not there.
I've often heard you refer to something on the Aftermath, and congrats on the Emmy, by the way.
Thank you.
Called fair gaming. And I just want to break it down for people to explain what it is, because it's very disturbing.
Okay. Scientology has a department called the Office of Special Affairs. And this department is dedicated to seeking out anyone telling the truth about Scientology. And they have directives that they follow, policies and directives. So one of those policies is called fair game. And it basically says that anyone who is speaking out against Scientology is to be fair gamed. And that means to destroy utterly. Those are the words that are actually used in the policy.
Physically, mentally, everything?
All of the above, yes. And then under those fair game directives are what OSA calls OSA directives, which is many thousands of policies of how to go after governments, how to go after the police, if you have somebody speaking out against Scientology, it says basically find out what the person seeks to protect and go after it. You can certainly cost them their job, if it's their reputation, their family. And so these directives have been in play since the inception of Scientology. When L. Ron Hubbard was running from the authorities, these policies started to emerge from Scientology. And there's policy on policy not changing. So all they know is to follow these directives. There's also something that says anything could be done to the person speaking out by a Scientologist in good standing, right? Somebody who's still in Scientology, with no repercussions to the person doing it. So it says lie, sue, whatever it says.
And as long as they're a Scientologist in good standing,
nothing can happen.
They're fine.
They're being
They're
protected
protected
by Scientology. And so Scientology fair gamed the IRS into giving them tax-exempt status. And the commissioner at the time just folded. They had filed a dozen lawsuits against the IRS. They were going after their jobs. They were going through their garbage. They were following them. They were harassing them. They were digging into their past, because L. Ron Hubbard says anyone who attacks Scientology has crimes. And so they make those crimes true somehow. Do you know what I mean? They just know that's what the policy says, so don't give up. Keep attacking.
You watch your show, your heart breaks, especially season 3. It's heartbreaking. Where are the authorities? What is going on?
Well, we're talking about scripture. We're talking about doctrine. So it's difficult to penetrate in that way. So it's just not giving up. I mean, although it seems like a Goliath and something that you can't win, I just think persistence and the truth will get you there.
Baby, you are a warrior.
Thank you.
Honestly, you're doing really great work. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Never miss a beat. Subscribe to Larry King Now and watch new episodes every day.